Hi everyone, it's Sally Estlin again with Magic Mike Moments. How are we doing? So today I'm particularly excited and thrilled to sit down and have a chat with Dr. Joy Pedersen. Welcome, 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 Dr. Joy.
Thank you.
So just before we get into the questions, I thought I'd just introduce you with a short little bio. So you have founded Express Success in 1981 while working in Hollywood. You serve as you have an international clientele, identifying and releasing the hidden causes of challenges negatively affecting business, money, relationships, mindset, health, and well-being. You specialize in clearing darkness, past lives, trauma, and travel. Ooh, right up my alley. So you're also an international bestseller who also channels and shares messages from gods, angels, and ascended masters. You're a doctor of divinity and a licensed spiritual healer and coach. Designated world mother, you work directly with Source as a global healer and leader, and you were named business spiritual healing specialist for 2023. Well, if that's not a fantastic intro, I don't know what is. So welcome to Magic Mike, Dr. Joy.
Thank you.
Such an interesting bio there, right? It's just right up my alley. And so, do you want to share a little bit about your journey and how you got into this, and maybe some of the challenges you've had along the way? Because it's not your everyday sort of career. Let's put it that way.
That's an understatement. Well, it's funny. I was just on another interview podcast the other day, and somebody asked me the same question, like, how'd you really get started? And it reminded me of I knew about this job. I didn't know what the job was when I was little. I was told I was going to be here for the end of the world as we knew it. I wasn't going to die this lifetime. I thought, oh, maybe I'm just going to ascend like Elijah, or I realized later I wasn't going to get killed. And the other thing that it was going to be my last lifetime, and I believed in reincarnation. I just accepted that information and then just went
Ooh,
about my business. And then, as you mentioned, I ended up in Hollywood and I was doing television publicity, and I was helping other people when they called to network with me to get a job on the lot. I wanted to help them and I realized they were struggling and I wanted to find a solution. So I looked for like what set me apart because I didn't really know anybody or anything really about the entertainment industry. It was just like, I want to do that. It sounds like fun. So, and I was really wet behind the ears. I really didn't know. What I learned was about the law of attraction
Mhm.
and like attracts like, and what you believe is what you will attract.
Yeah.
What I learned was I didn't have the memo that it was supposed to be hard to break into the entertainment industry.
Right, right.
Thank goodness, because I said, I want to do this, and I networked and figured out how and just followed the direction. So I wanted to reciprocate and do that for others and pass it forward.
Yeah,
But when I learned about the law of attraction, I thought the answer was to teach them that.
yeah,
So I started teaching the law of attraction, and there were certain techniques and consistent techniques that I would share.
yeah,
We'd all apply them, the same techniques, and we all were successful in certain areas, but not all.
yeah, right.
So I knew there had to be something within us. So again, I didn't know what that was. So I looked for another solution, and then I was introduced to spiritual healing. Doing that, I learned about the subconscious and how we all had memories that were negative emotions, memories from the past
Yeah.
that included past lives. So I didn't know I could read past lives until I went to a past life therapist out of curiosity. And the third session in, I go, oh, the information is right there. Accepting that allowed me to do it on my own.
Yeah, wow.
And then I was guided to leave Hollywood because I would make more of a difference in the world. And I didn't know what that meant, but I just followed my guidance and my inspiration, and I moved, um, left and went back to New Jersey, which is where I was from originally in the United States.
Hmm.
And while there, I started teaching networking because that was something that was helped me become successful in Hollywood. And then Archangel Michael came to me one day and asked me to write his book, Wisdom of the Guardian, Treasures from Archangel Michael to Change Your Life, and also to join him in a healing practice.
Mm.
And that's when everything in my life really changed.
Yeah, the big guy in your backyard. Fantastic.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when you mentioned the backyard, I was living on the fourth floor in a complex, and on the balcony one day, a demon appeared, and I've got a demon in front of me, and Michael's standing to my right, and I'm going, well, wanted the demon to go away, and assuming Michael was going to do something about it, and did nothing. And then finally, I got rid of it, and then I yelled at Michael. I said, "Wasn't that your job?" And,
Training you up.
and yeah. So I learned I had the ability within me.
Yeah, wow.
And it was when Michael enrolled me in joining him, he gave me a new sword and I got my own shield, and I looked like this little superhero, in my own little getup that nobody could see, but
Yeah.
they have this like invisible wardrobe that you get, and it's really funny. Um, and Michael puts a big banner over my balcony, Archangel Michael headquarters. It was really funny. I mean, it was just hysterical.
That is hysterical. It is like something out of the superheroes. And basically, Archangel Michael putting you through the school of hard knocks. It's like he pushed you out there and said, off you go. Show us what you're made of. Oh, my God. That's fantastic. I love that.
But the funny thing was, he gave me the book. I could channel angels.
Yeah.
And he gave me all I thought to ask him, and this was a learning for me. I really am terrible at interviews and ask the right questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just agreed to him, and but the only thing I asked him about the book was how many chapters. He said 22. I said, okay. I didn't ask him what the job was really going to entail and all of that. And I probably was better off not asking, because a lot of our job ended up clearing darkness and a lot of karma, things that were affecting um, humanity historically, and then also in individuals that came to me. And if I had been told that up front, I probably would have said, "Are you kidding? I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
But I said yes naturally. It just felt right, and everything unfolded from there. But the funny thing was, we immediately started working on the book. He gave me a chapter a day, and I was done in 23 days. The 23rd day was really the introduction.
Whoa.
And then I sat on the book for the longest time because I didn't want to tell anybody I could talk to angels.
Yeah.
I, I ran a business network, and I finally had a breakdown and talk to them and say, this is what happened, and I'm going to transition from running this business network and helping people as a consultant to spiritual healing. And I thought I'd lose everybody. I actually had to clear a number of my past lives of persecution.
Mm.
And I had to do it before I published the book and then after, in order to be able to speak about it, which every time I cleared another lifetime, it became easier. But when I went to this network, I said, I was sheepishly admitting that I talked to angels and that Archangel Michael asked me to join him in a healing practice. And I thought everybody was going to leave. I mean, not necessarily that night, but they wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
And 3 older businessmen hired me, and I would have assumed it would be women. And what happened from that is that I ended up having a large clientele that were business owners, because that's who I was networking with. That's who I knew.
Yeah.
But the business itself took on a flavor all by itself because I knew I wasn't in charge.
Yeah.
It was all Michael. It was all calling. This was meant to happen. It
Yeah.
was just wild.
What I think a good point that you brought up is that even though we're existing in this lifetime, we're carrying the burden and baggage of so much from our past, like past lives. And when you can unshackle yourself from that, look at you started to fly, and cross that bridge of vulnerability, right? And just everything started to just come towards you. It's amazing. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because we have all this stuff and we don't realize that we're carrying it, right? And let's just get rid of it. And it might not just be this lifetime or family stuff or whatever. It's, the persecution or the fear of fire or things like that, that things that have happened in your past life, being hung and all that sort of thing. It's like it's amazing how it affects us today.
Oh, it's I can't even tell you how many people I have cleared over the years.
Mm,
And persecution is such a common thread,
mm,
blocking light workers, blocking anybody that wants to go public. And when I look into their past, it's unbelievable the way people would treat people in other lifetimes. I mean, we come out of the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, eras of unconsciousness, and we didn't know any better,
yeah,
right? We're dealing with an environment that was very limited, and clearing all of that made such a difference to people because you could sense the energy in their throat chakra.
mm,
You could see the fears that they were living into now, and they had no idea what it was relating to.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just did one this week and it was just such a relief when they had that awareness, and like you said before about acceptance, just accepting it is what it is, right? And the story and the reasons why. It just helps you just understand things, I think. Understand yourself in a better way, in a deeper way, and work with yourself better. Just go, I've got rid of that now. I don't need to worry about it anymore. That was a fear that I was carrying from, 4 lifetimes ago or something. So, yeah, fascinating stuff. But that leads into on Magic Mike, I always ask people about what their superpower is. Now, you're a superhero. So, what do you think is your actual superpower? Like your magic, your essence, why people are actually drawn to you?
Well, people usually come to me because they're stuck and they can't get help other someplace else. They've tried everything
Yeah.
because I'm not everybody's first stop. People aren't necessarily open to what I do,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is far-fetched to the average person. But sometimes people are interested in past lives and just wanting, they're curious about, how they lived. But I've often told people, you don't come to me to find out when you're a fairy princess. You come to me because you have challenges, and I'm going to look at what really the cause of it is.
Yeah.
So I have a specialty in looking at darkness. I have an ability to clear, I mean, I've cleared curses, voodoo, magic,
Mm-hmm.
demons, fallen angels, uh, I run the
Oh, gamut,
gamut in
right? Yeah,
clearing.
yeah, yeah.
And so that's definitely a superpower, I think. And I think part of that superpower is the tenacity to sit there long enough to figure out what it really is that's
Yeah,
causing somebody a challenge.
yeah.
But I think also another one of the gifts that I have is my ability to not only talk to Michael, but talk to Source directly and all the Archangels and Ascended Masters and get
Mm.
wonderful information and guidance directly from above. And to me, that is the greatest gift that anybody could, maybe it's not even a gift, I should say, a skill that people, if they really worked at it, it's the greatest gift and resource that anybody could have, because being able to get divine guidance in the moment for whatever your challenge is priceless.
Oh, absolutely. You've got the best mentors out there, and the best assistants. You're just calling it out for it. It's like having a best mate, but that's not in person. It's just there.
Yeah.
Hey, mate, what do you reckon? What do you reckon I do about this? So that's so cool. That's so cool. And I really like that, specializing in clearing the darker energies. Like that's so needed, particularly in this day and age, particularly with the energy that's going on at the moment. And but that leads into the biggest issue facing your clients. Do you think they're just kind of stuck? They're just, they've got this challenge, and is it affecting particularly career, or is it just in themselves? Sort of what do you think is their biggest issue?
Oh, people, I don't care if where they are at. A lot of people still have issues with self-worth, self-esteem. They
Mm,
could be wealthy and still have money issues, relationship issues. So I run the gamut as far as the things I work with people on. A lot of times when I'm working with a business owner, I'm working on their families at the same time, their employees, their
mm,
past lives. One of the interesting thing is when I do past life readings, really, to find out what the cause is, and I read somebody's past life, they often tell me they think and feel the same way as I'm describing from a past life.
Mm.
And that's what's causing a lot of the stuckness. But here's another thing that I think is kind of relevant, where Source is asking me to help people let go of the idea that they think they know, because everyone is stuck in the past and what they've learned.
Yeah.
Source is trying to give new information and is challenged even by the light workers because they've had a lot of training and they're stuck even in past training.
Mm.
And and sometimes it's religious training, sometimes it's even modalities, sometimes it's just what different spiritual teachers have even
Mm.
taught. And if we can wipe the slate clean and be open to new information,
Mm.
we would be able to ascend so much easier. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I'm stuck in old habits. I still want to do things sometimes what we consider man's way versus
Yeah.
God's way.
Yeah.
Uh, we run this challenge between this is what everybody else is doing,
Yeah.
and then God saying, do it this way, and it's going against everyone's teachings. And you go, yeah, but like and this is working for them, but
Yeah.
God wants to take us in a whole new direction to make it easier for us. But and like I said, I'm just as guilty because I'll do business, some of those still the old ways I've been doing business and habits that I've had. And it's like if we can wipe that slate clean and start over and say, okay, this is a new day, a new minute.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do I need to know, do and clear now? Where do you want me to go now? Who do you want me to serve now? How do you want me to serve now? And so that's the conversation I'm in right now, making a
Ooh.
transition for myself so we can move into the new earth, new golden age. All of that is available to us when we can embrace
Yeah.
the new, the possible, what's here waiting for us. And so easily we're like kind of looking at the news, what's going on before, everybody's challenges, and we could just let that all go and ascend. It's not that complicated. It's not linear. It's just we can just
Yeah.
buoy up the more we can let go. I used an example the other day. I do a group healing call once a month with a training from Source, and Source gave this great analogy. You want to go into a hot air balloon. You're not going to take all of your belongings. You're going to take what's just needed for that ride
Yeah.
and allow that balloon to soar. And we're guilty of trying to put everything in that balloon.
This is a game changer, Dr. Joy, because I have this mantra, let go, step up and be more. But, and I'm always talking about the shift from the old way to the new way. And you're so spot on. Even in the spiritual work, you got to let go of this training and just go within, right? And just be in that moment, feel into it, because like you're saying, we don't need to take all this stuff into the hot air balloon because it's only going to weigh it down more. When we leave, you got to throw the sandbags over to get up, right? So you've got to let go of the stuff and have the confidence and the courage within you. And, we're tapped on vulnerability before. Allow yourself to tap into that vulnerability because that is a strength. And just trust yourself, because I have another mantra, trust, believe, and allow. So it's trusting in yourself, believe in the process, believe in Source, and, just allow the magic to happen. And I think the more we can fully embody that understanding that there's nothing more to be doing, just to be more being, if that makes sense. So it's like be fully embody your resonant field and just be in that space, and the magic will come to you. The answers will lie within you. They always do. But it's getting out of this old way of I need to know this, I need to do this course and be certified and this and that. And it's like, yeah, it helps you boost your confidence. But now this new way is the confidence is within you, and just start to shine, right? Just be this beacon of love and light, and just allow that to resonate out. It's, oh man, it's just, I love having chats with you because it's just validating everything that's going on. But you're seeing that, and you're getting the messages. Your mates are telling you this is how it is. This is the real deal now. So cool. So, what do you reckon would be three top tips to help people get, particularly like everyone in the world has these self-love, self-worth, self-esteem issues, and maybe three top tips to help people to step into more of being themselves?
Well, first of all, everyone was created for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a perfect being. Maybe we don't always act perfectly, but I mean, they're a perfectly created, packaged up being to come to Earth for certain things. We're given the gifts that we're supposed to have for the work that we're meant to do.
Yeah.
We're here to clear certain karma, and we're here to contribute and also to have fun.
Yes.
And one of the things you mentioned, I think, was key is the idea of doing all the time versus being, because you have to balance the masculine and the feminine energies so you can act as well as receive in a timely fashion. So it's got to be in flow. And so it's key to allow for both. And if you take inspired action,
Yes.
and you get inspired action easier when you're being rather than doing, because then you're in a different energy when you're doing.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's really acknowledging that you're here with a purpose, and there's nothing about you having to improve. It's really accepting who you are and living into your best self, knowing that you're here. God created you for a purpose. So there's no accident here. No
Yeah.
matter what the circumstances are that led you to where you are today. But the other thing is to forgive all of those circumstances that were unpleasant, all the people that were unpleasant, and also to forgive yourself,
Mm.
which is where a lot of my clients get hung up. They feel guilty because they feel like they let somebody down, or they didn't do a good enough job. And actually, when I talk to the other side, and when I help people that are deceased rise up and clear some of their karma before and after they die, the only thing they usually come back with is how they're sorry they hurt someone.
Oh, really?
The other regrets aren't really significant. They're more concerned about helping the people they left behind, or feeling bad about what they did. And they never say they've missed doing certain things. Like they go, I should have enjoyed myself. I worried for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's a big one.
the significance is really to forgive, because what we can forgive, God can heal.
Mm.
God can't heal, but you can't forgive. So wherever that lack of forgiveness is, you're holding up the world besides yourself. And that's truly significant. And then if you can surrender everything to God, your body, mind, and spirit every day, your business, your work, your relationships, and open yourself up to allow source to work through,
Mm.
it can buoy up everything. It's amazing when you really surrender, then all of a sudden that brilliance comes out of your mouth, and you know it wasn't you. Just, you
Oh, yeah.
know.
But that surrender, it's once again going from the fear of the old way to the love of the new way. And it's hard to cross that bridge and let go, because you're hanging on to what you know, right? It's better than
Right.
what you know in some ways. And you talk about forgiveness, like that is so, it's such a deep thing to work through. You can I often use the Ho'oponopono. I find that help
Oh, yes.
with forgiveness. And yeah, it's so cathartic when you go down that line of forgiveness. And it's interesting that you say that those that have passed, it's one of their things is they worry about, hurting others or how others are doing about it. And Yeah, that's interesting. You never let go of this forgiveness, right? It's another thing that's sort of tagged along with you the whole way through, this side and that side.
And the problem is, because I teach Ho'oponopono a lot too, because I think it's what is it within me that X, Y, or Z is an issue.
Yeah.
And then, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. But what I think people often do is blame. They blame themselves or others
Mm.
or society or the government or
Yeah.
their boss or circumstances. And if they understood everything is generated from within,
Mm.
and also it can be forgiven from within, and they don't necessarily have to know the true cause,
Yeah.
then they can evolve the situation. But when somebody sits in blame, they're giving their power outside of themselves and they're not evolving a situation.
Mm.
Then they're sitting in their own soup.
Yeah, I love that, sitting in their own soup, because it is an inside job. Everything is an inside job. And, you see it all the time when people are projecting their stuff, and the guilt and the blame and everything. And it's the scaredy cat stuff. It's just this fear. And I see it more and more, people stepping up, pulling up their big girl undies or big boy undies and stepping into their power and taking ownership and responsibility. Because I feel, as we bridge, cross this bridge, it's about putting you first and owning your stuff, owning your shit, and taking responsibility. It's just, it's a hard pill to swallow when you first come across that light bulb moment to go, oh my God, it's all within me. It's not all this stuff out here. And then you see people start to really grow on this massive trajectory, right? It's, oh yeah. And forgiveness is such a big part of that journey, and growth and waking up, I suppose, because the world is waking up, every day, as you said, every minute, it's we're back in the driver's seat of our own life, really. So do you want to share a little bit about the books that you have written and anything in the pipeline?
Well, I have this one. This is the one that I first started with Michael,
Yep.
Wisdom of the Guardian. And it's really his guidance on how to live life, whether it's parenting, careers, heaven on earth, money. He's very succinct. And then this book, Clear Your Past and Change Your Future, was really about a decade of work that Michael and I did, moving darkness to the light and clearing history. And it's a lot of channeled messages from above.
Mm.
It's really our journey together. And now they're guiding me to do another book on how to connect with your angels. So because people want to have guidance, God asked me a while ago to teach people how to connect with him, but it's really funny. I don't think people are really ready to connect with source. It's like too far-fetched in a way for
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
It's like, let's start with their angels and guides.
Yeah.
Let's make
Yeah.
it a little bit more palatable and easier to digest and let people ease into it.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I've been playing around with the fairies, right? I have these little
Oh,
fairy,
I love her.
light and airy like a fairy, because I'm the fun queen, right? And I think, you mentioned it before, we should be having fun in our days. And so, the fairies are like light and airy, and there's so much support out there. It's just, once you can get your head around it, or get your head out of it, so to speak, and just tap in, because everything is energy, whether it's in the physical form or not. It's just like working with it. That's what I love to do. That's why I've got the clothing line with working with the power of color. And it's so, there's so much support around us when we can get out of our head. Like, that's what we're saying, let go and just feel, right? Just feel and sense, because it's like, you get the goosebumps. People can relate to basic stuff like goosebumps, and they can sense it and feel vibes and stuff like that, and just amplify that sensing, and off you go. And it's an amazing journey, because you got all this support here. Now, I've got to ask you, so is Archangel Michael a really good writer? Is he a good speller?
Actually, he's a good writer. And Michael was asking me, suggesting that I write a book of fiction of the stories that we've experienced together in clearing the invisible world. It reminded me more of my life as a Marvel comic character than the girl next door.
Yeah.
And the stories are wild, fun and crazy, but it's beyond people's ability to digest. So Michael said, put it into fiction. I said, I've never written fiction. I've only done nonfiction. And I'm like, he goes, I can write fiction. All right, I'll give him a try. I was like, but he's really what Michael's great. He's got a great sense of humor. It reminds me of one day I was channeling a message from him, and then I had to take client calls. And then I come back to him later I said to him, "Can you pick up where you left off?" And he goes, "I don't have ADD."
Real sense of humor.
Oh, another one he said, which was great. Have you seen the movie Michael with John Travolta?
Oh yeah, it's an old one. Yeah.
It's an old movie, yes.
Yeah.
But there was a line in it where Michael was asked, John was asked a question, and he said, "It's not my area." So one day I asked Michael a question about a year after that, and I said, whatever, I asked him, and then he goes, "It's not my area. Go ask Gabriel."
Life is about having fun in whatever form you're at, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That is so funny. That is so funny. So, look, at the end of the day, what is the thing that gets you out of bed that you're most passionate about? What drives you from within?
They keep getting me up. That's all I know. They might need me here because there's plenty of days I'm going, "Oh, can you take me off the planet now? This is just a bit much." But I'm still as passionate as I was years ago about helping people get over their struggle.
Yeah.
And the world's not where we need it to be yet. I'd like to see, I live into a fairy tale. Like I want to see everybody live happily ever after. I mean, I
Yeah.
really do want to see the world shift and people be happy in it. And whatever I can do. I mean, there are plenty of times where I'm yelling at all of heaven and I go, "I quit. I can't, like this is ridiculous. I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then 5 minutes later, I'm asking, "Okay, what do you need me to do now?"
Yeah.
And then I just keep going.
Yeah. Oh, that's like once you get your head out of it, once again, you think, whoa, what a roller coaster of a life that you're living, and I love it. Like, I don't want to deal with this today. And Michael said to you, "No, come on, babe, just one more step. You can do it. You've got this, and come on out of bed." Your mornings must be amazing when you're having these conversations. Really, it's warm. I want to stay in bed. No, out you get. You got a job to do. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, Dr. Joy, I just love chatting with you. Now, where can people reach out and find you and find your books or find out more about you? Website perhaps or what got here?
Well, I'll give you two things. One is if they go to giftsfromjoy.com, they can get a free spiritual bundle, and there's a lot of information there. But joypedersen.com
Yep.
is where they find out the rest of the story and link to all of my social media and things like that.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm always happy to connect with people and hear their journey.
Oh, it's fantastic. You're such an inspiration and such a gorgeous energy to chat with too. Oh, Dr. Joy, thank you so much for being on Magic Mike Moments. And I've thoroughly enjoyed having a giggle this morning or this evening, wherever you are. So yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure.
We'll catch you soon. See you later, everyone. Bye.